What is up, guys? Wraec is here with a new video, and today I want to talk about how you can make Brutus immune for 12 seconds. It has a bit of a high requirement, but we're going to see that. Also, doesn't Crystal Beezer look very cool at this night mode? Just glowing insanely. 17 more days till we can fight him. Will be pretty cool. So, Brutus, however, Brutus, that is the main guy of this video. I sadly don't have him Supreme Plus, so that is the thing. For this to work, we will need a few charms, and charms are a bit of the topic of this video today, because I want to talk a bit as well about the possibilities that they harbor and the variety of builds that we are going to see in a bit. So, Brutus natively isn't immune for 12 seconds. If we check that out, his indomitable skill that he has there. Brutus is immune to the first fatal blow he receives. He's then immune to all damage and becomes unaffected for 5 plus 1 seconds. That plus 1 is actually for the skill power gained, which is a concept I don't think we had any explanation on when the season started. Basically just appeared on a lot of those skills and just said per skill power, where we had no source of. We checked the artifacts, there was nothing in there. Now we actually found the skill power, and we can get it through charms, which is quite interesting. There is another extra actually to Brutus, to his immunity. So natively we have 5 seconds, and then once we have him to upgrade him to Supreme Plus, then we see the duration of damage immunity and unaffected status from Indomitable, which was the ability we just checked out, is increased by 1. So then we have 6 seconds, but it's increased by 1 plus 1 second per skill power. So every single skill power we get on this guy will give us 2 more seconds of immunity, which 6 plus 3 times 2 is 12. So we can get 3 skill power on there, and we do that through the charms. Not sadly through the elite ones, not through the epic ones. We will need mythic ones for that, and you can find those right here. We don't have them unlocked yet, but the game will actually give you this little thumbs up to show you which ones are recommended and actively recommends your skill power. Skill power is granted through those charms. We can equip 3 different ones for every single slot, basically 1, and there are ones with haste and skill power for all of them, all called mystic charms, and so we get 3 skill power through this, which gives us the 12-second immunity. If you have never seen those charms before, until you reach mythic, there is just 1 single charm per hero per slot. So it's just like you have the blue one, then you've got a purple one, you get the yellow one, you get the red one. They just get higher and higher stats until you reach mythic. And you can see mythic, there we have them all down here, and there are 10 different ones actually that you can get, and all of those have different stats. We have the first 2 with the thumbs up that have some combination of skill power and another skill. In the first case haste, and the second case HP. Probably you will want to go for haste. And then we get other ones with like energy on hit, ultimate strength, and so on. So also the ultimate strength that is interesting for some heroes is from those charms. And those charms, sadly, they aren't easy to acquire. We can take a small look at that. There are 2 ways. One is, well, confirmed. The other one is something that I'm still a bit wondering about. We can see right now the way this upgrades is pretty much the same every time. It's 1 chest, 2 chest, 3 chest, next level chest. And this is the way that we went through this. And then it repeats: 1 chest, 2 chest, 3 chest, next level chest, which was the Warrior Charm Chest 4. The Warrior Charm Chest 4, the first one that actually gave us red treasures. So I assume the next one will be 1 chest, 2 chest, 3 chest, and then mythic chests. So 10 will be the first one where we see mythic chests. We don't know the requirements for that yet. There is a season day requirement. You can see right now it's day 16 of the season on my server. That might vary from server to server. So given that we have the difference in those requirements there, can we check them out? Actually, we can't, sadly. Okay. I think this one was 16. This one is now 18. Then we can see it's 20, 22. So we are looking a bit in the future. Well, not in the very far future, in the future of about in 4 days, in 6 days. In 6 days, we are likely going to see the first mythic emblems, first mythic charms, they are going to look like the ones that I just showed you. And we will of course have a certain AFK progress requirement in that. You can drop them then from those chests, and I reckon there is going to be one more way to get those. We have no confirmation about that, so that is a bit of a theory. But when you actually recycle those charms, you currently get a resource that is called Golden Essence, obtained by dismantling epic and lower quality magic charms used to exchange for magic charms. And right now there is no way to actually use that. And I reckon we are going to get one together with the mythic charms around that time. There is going to be a way. And we have no confirmation of that yet, as we said. But if we think a bit further, it is not easy to get the right mythic charm. Not easy at all. So if you wanted to get this Brutus survivability with the 12 seconds immunity that we just saw, you would have to randomly drop one of those two mythic charms with the right skill power buff on there. So we would want to have the skill power buff. But for every single hero and every single slot, there are actually 10 mythic charms, with not even considered that you might have a chance to roll a lower rarity one, lower than mythic. So we have 3 slots, we have 46 heroes that can gain mythic charms, maybe going to be increased by another one with the next rate up. So let's just say 46 for the moment. That is not including the 2 hamsters that can't get mythic charms. So 46 times 3 times 10, which gives you a grand total of 1,380 different charms, different mythic charms, of which 2 are the ones that you actually want. So it would be a 2 in 1,380. Then of course buffed a bit by the charms and the challenges that you face, but still rather unlikely. So I think either they are going to give us some kind of shop with varying content, or you can buy certain mythic charms with the golden essence, or we're going to get a way to re-roll them for maybe other stats or something like that. So this is probably what I assume, because the probability here would just mean that you are not even very likely to get the specific charm that you want within this season, because it's like very, very insanely rare. And it gets rarer and rarer the more rate ups they do. So I think at that point we're going to see some change to it. This guy, by the way, not the only hero that is super interesting. Maybe we should talk about this as well. Another hero that I want to talk about a bit is Odie. Odie is of course one of the favorite heroes of the community and one of the best damage dealers this season. And if we take a look at his skill, we already have this skill that we get from Legendary and Mythic. Increases damage dealt by 8% after 15 seconds, and then the extra 20 attack speed after 40 seconds and 20 crit damage boost after 65 seconds. So that is great. But we can also super boost this, and Lilith Games and AFK Journey suggests to use one of those two. And they are fairly interesting. This one, not so much. They mainly, the way they suggest you those charms is always, they say, okay, there's one specific stat that is associated with this hero and is good, and then they show you the ones that have this stat. And in Odie's case, that is attack speed, but of course attack is way preferable for us on a damage dealer than attack speed and HP. So not only do we have another crit buff down below here, which will be nice, another attack buff here, which will be nice. Attack speed, you have to think about that we have 3 of those equipped. We can have 3 of the same equipped, so it's 24% attack with speed, 15% attack, plus another 15% attack there. So an absolutely monstrous amount of attack, an absolute monstrous amount of attack speed. And you have to keep in mind, the way Odie works is we poison an enemy, and every time we basically hit that enemy, we poison him even more. Dart poison is increased by 25%, so we poison him even more, and the faster we can attack, the more often we can cast our normal attacks, the more often we hit the enemy, the faster that poison is going to be increased, the faster this enemy is going to be deleted. And of course, attack speed is pure DPS nonetheless. So in normal AFK stages, Odie will be able to clear the enemies even faster than before, while in boss fights we will see him attack with a heavy rate of fire and heavy damage on the enemy. And that is a very, very potent combination that we will definitely see and definitely like, and I think will be very, very insane. One thing to note though, we show Brutus. Brutus is one of the only heroes that has a buff from skill power in his Supreme Plus. That is actually surprisingly rare. Usually doesn't tap, and we can just randomly check out a few heroes here. Would be interesting if there's one of those that has it, but I think I've now shown enough to prove my point at this situation. There is usually no buff from skill power in there. In Brutus that is the case. Some of those are more interesting than others. I noticed a lot of those heroes don't really profit that much from skill power, but there are some more that profit from skill power. One of those was pointed out by the community during a live stream of mine, and I want to show that as well. It's actually Hewen, and Hewen has an ult that doesn't get too much from ultimate power. We first of all have a heal that gets increased by skill power. By the way, this is bugged at the moment, shows the same symbol as ultimate power while being obviously skill power. And then we have this skill, which is revitalize when the current HP ratio of an ally is below 50%. Hewen grants them a healing bonus of 120%. This effect applies to each ally once every 8 minus 1 second. And then we of course get buffs to this. The first buff is Hewen heals an ally and removes all their dispellable debuffs. So we get debuffs removed from us, and this effect can be triggered once for each ally every 6 minus 1 second. And then we have the extra healing. This one gets reduced from 8 to 6 minus 1 seconds, and at the same time the dispelling effect goes from 4 minus 1 second. And once again we can have 3 skill powers, so we go down to 3-second cooldown on the healing and 1-second cooldown on the dispelling, which is absolutely insane. So every single second Hewen can then wipe off all debuffs from your heroes, which is kind of fun, I have to say. So very, very fancy on Hewen here as well. I'm very, very hyped for this actually, because that is something that I've missed a little bit, a bit of an option to just equip your heroes in a way that you fancy, that you like. And I think we're going to see some interesting videos coming up with the HP attack speed buff on Corin, or going like full ultimate strength on a team. Maybe we see the Iron one. There are so many interesting combinations here. Just to list another potent one for the end that I think will be very, very interesting. The snowballs of Carolina actually profit from skilled power, but we can also, of course, equip everything else on there. But skill power is what was also recommended by the game, of course, and we can get some crit damage boost. All of that is in there. So we'll see some insane damage from the variety of heroes, and that I think is something that people often tend to miss during this season. We are not yet at the end. We are not yet at the end game. We are not yet at the top of our mechanics, and there is so much more waiting for us, and I think that is just great. Not even talking about stuff like those 2 artifacts. So I'm definitely hyped for that. As I said, 6 more days till you can probably find a video of that on my channel. Till then, I wish you a great day. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see us, well, tomorrow, but also in 6 days to talk about those mythic charms once again.